So I'm coming to you live from being snowed in with another book recommendation. This one follows on from When God Was a Woman, and it's called Return of the Divine Sophia. The subtitle is Healing the Earth Through the Lost Teachings of Jesus, Isis, and Mary Magdalene. So really interesting for me as somebody who's unpacking conservative Christianity as well as delving into a spiritual awakening. For me, what makes these books really interesting is that they unpack history that explains a lot of what we're seeing now, a lot of what women have experienced in the past couple decades, and what is bubbling up in our society politically, sociologically, behaviorally. It explains a lot. And there's a particular part of the book that I want to read to you, an excerpt, if you will, that clarifies, that elucidates how much misogyny is embedded into the church and thus into American society, at least. Now, we know this is a global phenomenon, but I think it's particularly salient for what we're seeing in the U.S. And it's important to note that I was reading this around the time of the unaliving of Renee Nicole Good, and it just became even more relevant. Writers like Epiphanes wrote that women were a feeble race, untrustworthy and of mediocre intelligence. Official church literature read, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Clement of Alexandria claimed every woman ought to be filled with shame at the thought that she is a woman. And Tertullian wrote, woman is a temple built over a sewer, the gateway to the devil. Woman, you are the devil's doorway. So on the following page, it says that John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church, wrote this. And this was 1703, so relatively recent, more recent than the other quotes. Wife, be content to be insignificant. What loss would it be to God or man had you never been born? Like, I knew it was bad, but I'll admit I didn't know it was that bad, where they're like, you're just useless. You're useless and we hate you, and it wouldn't mean anything if you weren't here. But if you put that into current context, it makes sense that there's so much femicide, there's so much interpersonal violence, which is directed at women for the most part. It makes sense how callously women are treated in American society. So this is a good one, a good book to add to your list if you're interested in exploring more of that, definitely from a historical perspective, from very early times to more recent history. It's kind of amazing to me how little we have progressed. If we have progressed at all, maybe the world just looks a little different. Maybe there hasn't actually been any progress. Maybe I made that all up. That was like, oh, we're doing better than we were before. But by every indication of what I'm reading, in ancient history, things were a lot better for women because there were more matriarchal societies. Women had more say, more power. And I'm actually currently reading The Great Cosmic Mother. So I'll be posting about that maybe in a few weeks.